The prisoner transport hummed through hyperspace, its cargo hold filled with the defeated. Captain Marcus Vale stood at the viewport, his reflection ghosting over the stars, gaunt face, hollow eyes, the premature silver threading his dark hair betraying the cost of the Thuran War. ETA to Processing Station Artemis, 30 minutes, Captain, the ship's AI announced. Marcus acknowledged with a grunt. 5 years of brutal conflict on Thura Prime had left him empty. Not broken, he'd seen too many broken men to claim that title, but hollowed out, like something essential had been carved from him with a dull blade. His final assignment before retirement, delivering 26 Thuran prisoners to Artemis Station. From there, some would be interrogated, others sent to labor camps. The politicians called it rehabilitation. Marcus called it what it was: vengeance dressed as justice. He made his way to the holding cells. The Thurans, humanoid but unmistakably alien with their azure skin and silver tribal markings, watched him through energy barriers with expressions ranging from defiance to despair. In the last cell sat a female, taller and broader than her companions. Unlike the others who wore standard prisoner gray, she still had remnants of battle armor, a concession to her rank. Chieftess Valora, the Manifest, had named her. Captured during the Battle of Silver Falls after her forces had decimated an entire human battalion. "You should stop starring human," she said in accented standard, "or I might think you're planning to mount my head as a trophy." Marcus approached her cell. "You speak our language well." "I've killed enough of your kind to pick it up." Her silver eyes narrowed. "What do you want?" "Just checking on the prisoners." Valora laughed, a harsh sound. "How thoughtful. Will you check on us after your scientists start their experiments too?" Marcus frowned. "What experiments?" "Don't pretend ignorance. The females of my kind are being taken for special research. We hear things even in captivity." Before Marcus could respond, his comm chimed. "Captain Vale, please report to comms. Priority message from Artemis." In the communications bay, Colonel Harrington's face filled the screen. "Vale, change of plans. We're transferring the female prisoner designation V-17 directly to Research Division upon arrival." "Sir, that's irregular. All prisoners are supposed to go through standard processing." "These orders come directly from General Hayes. The Thuran female possesses unique physiological attributes of interest to our Biological Warfare Division." Horror washed through Marcus. The war was over, barely, and already they were developing new weapons. "Understood, sir," he replied mechanically. After disconnecting, Marcus pulled up the prisoner manifest, searching for something, anything that might help. There, buried in the appendices of the Interplanetary War Code, he found its Statute 279B. A warrior of distinguished service may claim a single prisoner of war as a life-bound ward, assuming full responsibility for their rehabilitation and conduct. An archaic clause rarely invoked since the Mars conflicts, but still legally binding. Marcus returned to the holding cells. Valora hadn't moved, her posture regal despite her circumstances. "They're going to dissect you," he said without preamble. "Turn your biology into weapons." Something flickered across her face, not fear but a grim acknowledgement. "Then I die as a warrior should, fighting until the end." "There's another option," Marcus lowered his voice. "I can invoke the right of wardship. You'd be legally bound to me, but it would keep you off the dissection table." Valora's silver eyes blazed. "I'd rather die than be some human's pet." "I don't want a servant," Marcus said, echoing her intensity. "But I've seen enough death, enough cruelty." "Why would you help your enemies?" Marcus looked away. "Maybe I'm trying to save what's left of my soul." The ship shuddered as it decelerated from hyperspace. Artemis Station loomed ahead. "Decide now," Marcus urged. "I can't help you once we dock." Valora studied him, searching for deception. "If you betray me, human, I will tear out your heart before I die." Marcus nodded. "I'd expect nothing less." As the ship's docking procedures initiated, Marcus transmitted his invocation of Statute 279B to Artemis Command, claiming the Thuran Chieftess as his ward. In doing so, he knew he was throwing away whatever remained of his military career. But watching Valora's face of fierce determination masking the fear she'd never admit, Marcus felt something stir within him that he thought had died on Thura Prime. "Purpose." The skimmer touched down on the outskirts of New Montana, a frontier colony world where the settled areas gave way to vast wilderness. Marcus's homestead, a prefabricated dwelling expanded with local timber, stood against the backdrop of purple-tinged mountains. Valora stepped from the vehicle, her wrists still bound by energy cuffs. The gravity here was slightly stronger than on Thura Prime, and she adjusted her stance with the instinctive grace of a warrior. "This is where you live, human?" she asked, her silver eyes surveying the perimeter for threats. Marcus, he corrected, disabling the cuffs with his thumbprint. And yes, far enough from the settlement that nobody bothers me. Or notices an alien prisoner, she added bluntly. Marcus shrugged, ward not prisoner, legally speaking. A distinction without difference. Valora rubbed her wrists. What happens now? Do I cook your meals, clean your dwelling, warm your bed? The accusation hung between them. Marcus's jaw tightened. You'll stay alive, that's what happens now. He gestured toward the house. There's a spare room, food in the kitchen. The perimeter is secured against predators, but I wouldn't recommend wandering beyond it. Or what? You'll punish your ward. Or you'll encounter a skullcrusher cat and end up as dinner. Inside, Marcus showed her to a small but adequate room. Rest, we'll figure out the rest tomorrow. 3 days passed in tense silence. Marcus kept to his routines, tending his small greenhouse, maintaining equipment, exercising with military precision. Valora watched, assessed, and kept her distance, eating only what she prepared herself. On the 4th morning, as Marcus repaired a damaged solar panel, Valora emerged wearing a simple tunic she'd found among his supplies. Your dwelling leaks atmosphere, she stated flatly. The northern wall has degraded seals. Marcus wiped sweat from his brow. It's on my list. An inefficient list. Without waiting for permission, she took a sealant gun from his toolkit and moved toward the house. By evening, she had repaired not only the seals but also recalibrated the environmental controls. When Marcus tried to thank her, she cut him off. I didn't do it for you. I refused to freeze because of human incompetence. That night, the perimeter alarm blared. Marcus grabbed his pulse rifle as Valora appeared from her room, instantly alert. 2 skullcrushers, he said, checking the sensors, big ones. The predators, massive feline creatures with armored skulls, were attempting to breach the eastern fence. Without discussion, they moved in sync, Marcus taking position at the window while Valora flanked the door. When the first beast broke through, they acted with the coordinated precision of seasoned warriors. Marcus fired 2 shots, driving it back, while Valora launched herself forward with unexpected speed, wielding a makeshift spear crafted from a broken tool. Left, Marcus shouted as the second creature circled. Valora pivoted, driving her spear into the beast's unarmored throat while Marcus's covering fire kept the first creature at bay. The wounded skullcrusher retreated, dragging its dying companion into the darkness. Breathing hard, they stared at each other in the aftermath, surprise and reluctant respect mirrored in their eyes. Your fighting skill is adequate, Valora conceded. A ghost of a smile touched Marcus's lips, high praise from a Thuran chiefess. For the first time, the silence between them wasn't hostile. Later, as they treated minor wounds, Valora asked, "Why did you really bring me here, Marcus Vale?" He considered lying, then decided against it. I don't know, maybe I'm tired of following orders that make no sense. Maybe I couldn't watch another execution and call it victory. Valora studied him, her silver eyes reflecting the lamplight. Perhaps we are both lost warriors, she said finally, trying to remember what we once fought for. That night, Marcus dreamed not of war, but of silver eyes that held both threat and understanding. Karoman Sixta, Marcus repeated, struggling with the Thuran word. Kaverta, Valora corrected, a rare smile ghosting across her face. It means resilient one, the tree that bends but does not break. 2 weeks had passed, and their initial hostility had evolved into a cautious routine. Each morning they exchanged languages, standard for Thuran, before tending to the homestead's needs. Why were you fighting us? Marcus asked during one such session, the question he'd been holding back. The official reason was resource terrorism, but... You invaded our ancestral hunting grounds, Valora interrupted. Your mining operations poisoned the sacred waters where our young are blessed. We didn't start the conflict, we responded to one already begun. Marcus paused, absorbing this. That's not what they told us. Victors write history, don't they? Even on Earth this is true. Valora picked up a tool, examining it with deceptive casualness. Why were you discharged, Marcus Vale? The insignia on your uniform indicated high rank, yet you ended as a prisoner transport. The question struck a nerve. Marcus stared into the distance, considering whether to answer. My unit was ordered to clear a village near the Sapphire Lakes. Intelligence said it housed rebel fighters. His voice turned hollow. But when we arrived, I found only families, children, his fist clenched. I refused the order. When my commanding officer tried to proceed anyway, I intervened. You chose honor over duty, Valora said quietly. I chose court-martial over massacre, he corrected. The military called it treason, I called it humanity. That evening, a storm rolled in from the mountains. The wind howled, rattling the homestead's foundations. Valora found Marcus on the covered porch watching lightning split the sky. "Your world is beautiful," she said, joining him, "violent but beautiful like Thura." "Like its people," Marcus replied, then looked away, surprised by his own words. Valora studied his profile. "You're not what I expected, Marcus Vale." "What did you expect?" "A master, a jailer," she paused, "not someone who looks at me and sees a person." The electricity between them was no longer just hostility. Something else had begun to take root, dangerous and unexpected. When lightning struck nearby, Valora flinched instinctively. Without thinking, Marcus reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. "In my culture," she said softly, "to touch another's skin is to offer trust." Their eyes met, and Marcus realized he was treading into territory more perilous than any battlefield. More tempting, too. "And what am I offering?" he asked. Valora's silver eyes searched his. "That is what I'm trying to determine." The warning came at dawn, a secured message from Marcus's only ally still in service. "They're coming for the Thurin. Classification changed to high-value research asset. ETA your location tomorrow morning." Marcus found Valora by the stream, practicing combat forms that flowed like water. "We need to leave," he said without preamble. "Now." Her body tensed. "You're returning me." "No, they're coming to take you. General Hayes never accepted my wardship claim. They've reclassified you." For a moment she looked like she might run or fight. Instead she asked, "Why warn me? You could regain your honor by surrendering me." "There's no honor in that," Marcus said simply. "Pack only essentials. We leave in 30 minutes." They took the old ground transport, less detectable than the skimmer, and headed into the mountains. Marcus knew paths that wouldn't appear on military scanners, trails left by smugglers and those who preferred to live beyond government reach. "Where are we going?" Valora asked as they navigated a narrow ridge. "There are rumors of settlements in the northern territories, places where the war never reached." He glanced at her. "Places where what species you are doesn't matter." Valora's expression remained guarded. "You're giving up everything." "I gave up everything the day I disobeyed that order." Marcus negotiated a steep turn. "I'm just making it official." By nightfall, they had reached a hidden valley. The air was thin and cold as they made camp in a cave system. "They'll hunt us," Valora said as they huddled near a small heat generator. "You are now what I am, enemy of your people." "Not my people," Marcus corrected. "My government, there's a difference." In the dim light, Valora moved closer. On Thura, when warriors face death, they don't waste final hours with distance. Her meaning was clear. Marcus felt his resolve wavering. "Valora, I choose this," she said firmly, her hand finding his face. "Not because of wardship or duty or gratitude, because you saw me when I was meant to be invisible. Because we are alike, you and I, displaced warriors looking for what was taken from us." The kiss, when it came, was neither human nor Thurin, but something new, fierce and tender, uncertain and sure. Their passion ignited like a supernova, their bodies learning each other's differences and finding unexpected harmony. Afterward, lying together beneath borrowed blankets, Valora traced the scars on his chest. "What happens if they catch us?" she asked. Marcus pulled her closer. "They won't." But at dawn, the sound of engines echoed through the valley, military skimmers. They tracked the transport, Marcus realized, quickly gathering their supplies. "We need to move deeper into the caves." As they fled into the darkness, the first shots hit the cave entrance, sending rock fragments flying. "Keep going," Marcus urged, taking a defensive position. "I'll hold them off." Valora grabbed his arm with surprising strength. "Together," she insisted, "we fight together or not at all." In her silver eyes, Marcus saw something he'd thought lost forever, a future worth fighting for. Pinned down in the caverns, outnumbered and outgunned, Marcus and Valora prepared for their final stand. The military forces had sealed the main exit. Only a narrow tunnel remained, leading deeper into the unknown. "Go," Marcus urged, handing Valora his last energy clip. "If you follow this tunnel, you might find another way out." "I will not leave you," she growled, the silver markings on her skin seeming to glow with intensity. "This isn't about us anymore." Marcus gripped her shoulders. "What we found, it matters. Humans and Thurans seeing each other as people, not enemies. Someone needs to survive to tell that story." An explosion rocked the cavern. Time was running out. "There will be another chance," Marcus promised, pressing his forehead to hers in the Thuran gesture of connection. "If not for us, then for others." Before Valora could protest further, a new sound echoed through the tunnel movement from the opposite direction. They raised their weapons, preparing for enemies from both sides. Instead, figures emerged bearing light sources, humans and Thurans moving together without hostility. Quickly called a human woman with weathered features, we detected the military signals this way. Bewildered but desperate, Marcus and Valera followed the strangers through a complex network of tunnels that eventually opened into a vast underground cavern. There, bathed in the glow of bioluminescent fungi, spread a settlement unlike anything Marcus had ever seen, dwellings built by human and Thuran hands working in unison. "Welcome to Harmony," said their guide. "We've been watching your homestead for some time, Captain Vale. Your protection of a Thuran prisoner didn't go unnoticed." "Not prisoner," Valera corrected firmly, "not anymore." As they were led through the settlement, the leader explained, "We are deserters, refugees, those who saw the war for what it was, a mistake born of misunderstanding and greed. For 3 years, we've built this place while both sides slaughtered each other above." "The military knows you're here," Marcus asked. "They suspect, but these caverns disrupt their scanners, and they have little interest in a few deserters when there are still Thuran resources to plunder." That night at a communal gathering, Marcus and Valera shared their story. Other couples, human and Thuran alike, nodded in recognition of their own journeys. "Tomorrow we go topside," the settlement leader announced. "Our scouts have negotiated with a trading vessel, one of the independent transports that doesn't ask questions. Captain Vale, your military experience would be valuable if you're willing to join the expedition." Before Marcus could answer, alarms blared. The military had found a way in. In the chaos that followed, Marcus made a decision. As the settlers evacuated deeper into the cavern system, he moved toward the entrance. "What are you doing?" Valera demanded, following him. "Buying time," Marcus checked his weapon. "Get these people to safety." "No," Valera's silver eyes flashed. "Where you go, I go." Together, they rigged the narrow passage with the settlement's limited explosives. Not to kill, but to collapse the tunnel, sealing off the military's advance. As they set the final charge, a pulse blast hit Marcus in the shoulder, sending him sprawling. Valera dragged him behind cover as bullets ricocheted around them. "The detonator," Marcus gasped, blood soaking his shirt. "Hit it now." With one arm supporting Marcus and the other extending toward the detonator, Valera stretched beyond her reach and beyond safety. A clean shot would take her down, but hesitation meant death for everyone in the settlement. "For a future worth building," she whispered and pressed the trigger. The explosion was deafening. Rock and dust filled the air as the tunnel collapsed, cutting off the advancing forces and nearly burying Marcus and Valera. Hours later, Marcus awoke in a makeshift medical bay, his wound treated with a combination of human medicine and Thuran healing techniques. Valera sat beside him, her azure skin dusty, a new scar across her cheek. "Did everyone make it?" he asked hoarsely. "All but 2 scouts," she replied. "The trading vessel is still coming. They will take us to the outer colonies, places beyond the reach of your military and my former clan." Marcus tried to sit up. "Us." Valera's hand found his. "Where you go, I go," she repeated. "This is my choice, not duty, not wardship, just us." 3 days later, as the settlement prepared for evacuation, Marcus and Valera stood on a precipice overlooking the valley where they'd first been discovered. In the distance, the trading vessel descended through the atmosphere, their passage to an uncertain future. "Are you afraid?" Marcus asked. Valera considered this. "Yes," she admitted. "Not of danger, but of possibility. On Thura, our paths were determined at birth. Warriors fought, leaders led, healers healed. There was certainty in that. And now we write our own story." She turned to him, the silver of her eyes catching the sunlight. "That is terrifying and wonderful." As they boarded the vessel with the other refugees, Marcus noticed something he hadn't seen before. A small Thuran child holding hands with a human one, neither aware there should be anything unusual about their friendship. "Maybe that's what we were fighting for all along," he said quietly. "We just didn't know it." Valera's fingers interlaced with his azure and tan, different yet perfectly matched. "Not an ending," she said, "but a beginning." As the ship broke atmosphere, leaving the war-torn world behind, Marcus felt something he'd thought lost forever in the jungles of Thura Prime. "Hope."